Hello, hello. Garjani is here. And I wanted to talk about a very interesting subject today. And this subject is about narcissism. Now, we've all heard of narcissism, or maybe you have, maybe you haven't. The general idea is, someone that's conceited, someone that's full of themselves. But I wanted to delve a little deeper because it goes much more deeper than that. Narcissism is actually a cognitive issue that a lot of people suffer from, where they lack empathy, okay? That's the most easiest way I can describe it. And I want you to understand it like this, okay? You have sympathy and you have empathy. Sympathy, okay, is you feeling sorry for someone or feeling bad for somebody from an external level, okay? And you're feeling sorry for them, okay? Empathy is you actually imagining or experiencing the emotion that person is experiencing negatively. Okay? So to give you an example, if somebody broke their leg, sympathy is like, okay, let me help you. I feel bad that your leg hurts. Empathy is like, ow, I can imagine my leg hurting like that, okay? Now, when we talk about this in regard to narcissism, narcissists, okay, lack the ability to empathize, okay? Now, they do have a little bit of sympathy, some narcissists do, depending on your spectrum. But empathy, the ability to imagine being in someone else's shoes, the ability to feel why someone else would feel that kind of way. They literally have a very extremely low awareness of that. And what that ends up causing is they don't really understand or really feel with other people, on a certain level. So how does this play out in life? Okay, a lot of you may not know, but narcissism is one of the most, least talked about mental disorders that are out there. Okay, and I don't want people to look at it negatively. People have all kinds of mental disorders on a very regular level. Some people have ADD. Some people have, small bouts of depression, things like that. These are all areas where you're dealing with some difficulties when it comes to processing things. But that's how it is with narcissism. The only problem is narcissists tend to destroy and tend to attack people who are very empathic or people who are very caring. And that's where it becomes a problem, because now their own issues begin to impede on those of others. But here's the big problem about it. They are functional, meaning they're in society and nobody is able to recognize this disorder. So they go around without even knowing they have a problem. And here's what makes it even worse. They tend to be very negative towards people close to them that have different ideas or views of life. And if they do end up, they end up having a lot of problems with people that disagree with them. And if you do happen to disagree with them, it can become very, begin to be in a very toxic environment, okay? And the way this plays out is they, badmouth, your word doesn't matter, your opinions don't matter, your feelings don't matter. They look at your feelings as if, as if it's a joke, okay? And this may seem like it's not a big deal, okay? But when we start talking about people who are in relationships with narcissists, people who are really closely tied to narcissists, this becomes very toxic. This becomes very toxic for their souls, honestly. Because when you don't have the ability to express yourself and be heard from the people that you desire to be heard from, and you're in a situation where you have to constantly deal with them, what begins to happen is people begin to think they're insane. They begin to feel as if their feelings don't matter. They begin to feel as if whatever they're experiencing doesn't matter. And that is a problem. Because the narcissists, they, expect the world to care about how they feel. The narcissist, if you don't feel where a narcissist is coming from, you're going to suffer. Narcissists have a very hard time, okay, allowing other people's ideas and feelings and experiences to matter more than their own, okay? And what begins to happen is you almost get an energy vampire effect, okay? They begin to latch on to people and eventually begin to be like, look, everything that I say matters, okay? Anything that doesn't match what they feel or believe, okay, gets attacked, gets destroyed. And what happens is the people around them begin to feel like they don't matter, begin to feel powerless, okay? Now, these narcissists are all over. I'm telling you right now, a lot of people have managers that are narcissists. So they're in an environment, in a work environment where their, ideas are getting crushed down. The way they feel doesn't matter. The CEO is very controlling. Okay, narcissists have a very controlling nature to them. Very controlling, and if you don't do what I say or do things the way I see them being, you're getting destroyed. Okay, but it gets even worse than that, because narcissists have certain tools. Narcissists are actually very intelligent in terms of how they go about projecting what they feel and making sure the world sees that as what is the right way. Okay, narcissists tend to be very outgoing in environments. Okay, they give off this energy like they're very friendly and loving, and everybody, I'm this great, all perfect guy. You don't hear narcissists really talking bad about themselves or empathizing with people like, yeah, I've been there as well. No, they have to carry themselves to this standard as if they do nothing wrong. Okay, so just know that that is a very big time trait with narcissists. And the thing about narcissists is when they're around groups of people, they're very chameleon-like. They blend in, they act like this perfect person. But when you get to know them up close, you end up finding out that they're not this nice, friendly person all the time. They're actually very critical, okay? They're actually very rude in a lot of cases, okay? And they're very destructive to the people close to them if those people don't follow exactly how they see things to be, okay? And that's a major problem. But here's another thing that narcissists do. They project. Now, what do we mean by that? If you disagree with a narcissist, say you want to follow your own path in life, the way that they attack you is very covert. They'll talk to your friends. They'll talk to your other family members. And they subtly talk behind your back with things like this. Yeah, I just don't understand what's going on with him. He's like, he says he's going after his dreams, but every time I see him, he's just, all over the place. You see, they're creating a narrative. I tried to help him out, and, he just denies my help. They try to tell a story to the people close to them that projects and paints a certain picture. And 99% of the time, you don't even know they're telling this to the people around you. And what they end up doing is creating these projections of how they think you are. And they feed that to the people around you. And so next thing you know, the people around you are looking at you like you're some evil person, or like there's something wrong with your life. And you're like, why are people acting like this? But what you don't know is the narcissist is planting seeds of doubt and seeds of confusion in the people around you so that they can control the narrative about you. You see, it's very advanced. Narcissists are masters at controlling the narrative, controlling the story. They need people to see the story in the way that they view it, okay? Because the whole idea is controlling everything around you so that you don't have a voice, okay? Narcissists' job, okay, are to make sure that everyone within their perimeter acts and does things the way that they want them to be. And if anybody violates that, they will do everything in their power to make sure that they destroy you. And the way that they do it is by making sure everyone around them first views you as a loser, okay? So they isolate people. They also use things like the golden child effect, and I'll talk more about that in the future, where if there's two children, if there's one child that's very combative, they'll give all this love and care to the other child. They'll say, why don't you act like him? Or they'll say, yeah, she's just being so this, and that, but then they show and shower all this love to the other child. The whole idea is to create a duality amongst you and the other child so that the other child acts according with the parent, and so that the other child feels neglected and isolated. You see, this is very evil in its own way. It's very negative, okay? And this is all predicated on their inability to see things from other people's perspectives. So instead of doing that inner work, what they want to do is just project and say, okay, this person there's something wrong with them if they don't see things like how I see them. So this thing goes very deep. It goes very deep. And as time goes on, I'm going to touch on a lot more specifics involving narcissism. Because whether you know it or not, millions of people every day are going through so much drama because they have negative attachments. They have karmic attachments to these narcissistic people. Whether they have kids with these people, relationships with these people, marriages with these people, okay? If you have an attachment to them, okay, I guarantee you they'll begin to slowly chip away at your soul. They will continue to argue with you and not understand where you're coming from. They will continue to make you feel like you're crazy, like there's something wrong with you. But I want you to know there is nothing wrong with you, okay? The problem is you're dealing with a damaged person that won't look at their own flaws. And whether you know it or not, that's a dangerous person to be around. Any person that can't see their own flaws, that can't literally admit their faults, that can't say, you know what, I was wrong, baby, I'm sorry. Or I was wrong with what I said, mom, or I was wrong with what I said, daughter, okay? If they cannot admit their wrongs, if they don't have the ability to understand where you're coming from and make changes, now you're dealing with somebody that has the inability to change. And if you don't have the ability to change, that means you can't survive. That means you become destructive. Because as you know, it's survival of the fittest. You must adapt. So for any of those people out there who are stuck in karmic situations with these narcissists, and I will go deeper into this subject, like I said, to talk about why are narcissists the way they are. You know, this is a big, big thing that's beginning to come up amongst the collective consciousness. Narcissists have been around for years, okay? And nobody's called them out. I'm telling you, these people, a lot of the time, are extremely successful, have amazing jobs, they're all about status and success symbols, the nice house, the award, the degrees. They're the ones that feel like they're better than you because of the material. But when you look into the internal, okay, you realize that, man, it's very dark in there. That's why they need all these outside things, because inside is very empty, okay, and very lonely. So what I need you to do, okay, for all of the empaths out there dealing with a lot of narcissists, all the people out there who may not be aware of narcissists, the first thing you got to do is recognize that the person is a narcissist. And don't waste your time trying to convert them. The big thing about narcissists, they have an inability to really change their mind, okay? They do not change their mind, and that is very toxic for somebody that wants to grow. Don't waste your time trying to change a narcissist. Instead, create the distance, okay? You have to get away. That's the problem. We become our own worst enemies, these people dealing with narcissists, when you want to keep trying to change them, keep thinking things are going to be different. It's not, okay? Not until you first step away, okay? You got to get away. Create that clear headspace, okay? And once you do that, you need to begin to realize that you're dealing with a toxic person and you need to separate yourself, okay? Once you separate yourself, you'll be able to, once again, create and build your life in a healthy manner. And that is very powerful, because the one thing a narcissist can't do when they doubt you and say all these things about you, once you begin to start living your life successfully, nothing destroys them more than that, because now they're beginning to realize that not only do they not have an effect on you, but you're proving them wrong. You're proving them wrong. They don't want to be wrong. They want you in their trap. Their trap of confusion. You got to get away and begin to focus on yourself, okay? Now, you know, I'm going to say this closing point about narcissists because I can go on forever. It's a very, very interesting subject, you know, when it comes to the mind and psychology and things like that. But one big thing I want to say about narcissists is when you're building your life and creating your life, a lot of empaths, where they go wrong is they want to help. Empaths have a hard time living for themselves. And that's where empaths honestly mess up. And I'm here to tell the empaths, it's time for you to practice the art of not needing validation, of not needing someone to agree with you, of not needing somebody to be on the same page as you. Honestly, empaths need to learn from narcissists. And what they need to learn from narcissists is there's power in thinking whatever you think and just moving forward with it, okay? Don't entangle yourself with someone else, because now you're creating a karmic attachment that's draining you. You need to step away, cut that cord, and begin to build your life. The narcissist is going to continue to be a narcissist. They're just going to bring that energy on to everyone else that gets close to them. But you, okay, you are going to have your soul get ripped and lost. You will lose your soul if you don't begin to focus on generating and regenerating your creations and your success and the things that you want to build, okay? The number one way to destroy and beat the narcissist, okay, is to have a life that is so amazing, that is so successful, that is so peaceful, okay, that there's nothing they can do about it. Let them see it. Shine, you know, win. But you can only do that when you begin to focus on how wonderful your life is and begin to create that life for you, okay? So, you know, I'm going to give more topics and talk about more things about how to successfully beat the narcissist. This is a battle. This is a game. This is a battle, okay? Narcissists represent darkness to me. And what they try to do is cloud and create darkness on those people who are shining. And with the empaths and the people who are trying to develop and grow, they need to realize that they need to put all their energy towards shining. and moving forward, okay? That's where the power is. So with that being said, I hope you learned a lot, okay? I want you to start paying attention to the people who may be narcissistic around you, the people who may be draining your energy, the people who may be doubting you all the time. Think about those places where you don't have a voice. Whenever you don't have a voice, there's a problem, because you have a voice for a reason, and if it's not being heard, then you're not in the right environment. You need to be in an environment where your voice matters, where people encourage you, where you grow, where people are putting water on your ideas and creations, okay? Not trying to destroy them and pull them out and put poison on them. No, okay? So if you want to grow, prosper, manifest, put yourself in an environment with people that will help you grow. And anybody that's trying to cloud that and bring darkness or any poison to that, you need to immediately move yourself. Don't take that lightly. Narcissists are very destructive. Don't take that lightly. This is life or death, I'm telling you, okay? Value yourself, value your goals, value your creations. And I promise you, nobody can stop you. With that being said, we'll talk soon. Thank you.